my technology integration lesson was technology, literacy, and social studies all combined. And so what the students were to do with the technology was that they created videos using PowerPoint and iMovie. This way they could share information that they learned with their fellow peers. So it was a 6th grade class, and I had access to a mobile laptop cart with 30 MacBooks, an overhead projector, and then there was also a document camera and a TV VCR in my room. So I grouped the students in small groups, and it was very specific grouping because I was also doing my TEL practicum, and so this was part of that unit. And each group I made sure had someone with more literacy skills, and then there were people with students with less literacy skills. I also wanted to make sure each group had someone with strong leadership skills and someone with technology familiarity, which might have been the same person. But I just needed them to be able to use the technology as well as have someone that would keep the whole group on task. So why I wanted to do this project was that I wanted the students to engage with the information and learn to present it in new ways. And so they researched something in small group, but then in order to give the entire group, the entire class access to the information, technology just seemed the best way to do it. And we used the videos in class. We learned how to do that with the storyboards, and I just thought that would be a really good project for my students to do. And so the first thing they did was they did center rotations to actually do the research and come up with the storyboard. And so I wasn't actually at the center with them, so they were given a task card with very specific instructions about what they were to do. And they each group had a folder, and so the folder had the person from the Renaissance or Middle Ages name on it that they would be studying, and then there was a sticky note with the group members' names on it, so they knew exactly who was in the group and who was researching which person. And then inside the folder was all of the research that they would need for the project. I had already gone through books about the people and copied different levels of text so that they had all the information that they would need in smaller readings and not a huge overwhelming amount. That way they could easily access the information that I wanted them to access. And I also gave them a sheet with the different pictures that I would make available to them that were related to their person. The students then chose which pictures they wanted to use for their storyboard, and they found at least six interesting facts about their person, and they compiled it onto an actual storyboard. And I graded those on a rubric which they had available to them ahead of time, so they knew exactly what they were going to be graded on and exactly what I wanted. Once they had those storyboards, I checked over all the facts, and then the next day I actually had them get out the laptops and they opened PowerPoint, and they were given very specific instructions about having a title page for their person, each fact on a separate page, and then a credits page where they had to credit the pictures they were going to be using, which I gave them the image sources and they just had to copy and paste them into their slides, as well as whichever readings they used. I gave them the information for that and they just had to put it in. And I was very specific about the information they needed and the formatting, that I wanted all the pages to have the same formatting, and each student needed a chance to type at the computer. They were to share the computer in the group, and then we saved those presentations as JPEGs, as pictures, so that each slide was a separate picture. And on the third day we took those pictures as well as the pictures of the actual person that they had chosen on that first day, and they inserted them all into iMovie. And then they were able to arrange them how they wanted them and add voice narration. And each student had to at least narrate part of the video. And then I helped them upload them to my YouTube account, and we shared them as the entire class. So that way a small group became an expert on one person and made the video, but the entire class was able to gain access to all the information. So here's a student sample of a video that they produced.
Queen Elizabeth was born on September 7, 1533, over 450 years ago.
She faced many problems. One of them was she lost part of her land.
She ruled as queen for 42 years.
She inherited her mother's long, thin face, pointed chin, and dark eyes.
She was ruler for even longer than her father.
She died on March 4th, 1603, when she was about 70 years old.
And so some of the resources that I used were the individualized text, and they had the MacBooks. I plugged it into the projector so the whole class could view them. We used YouTube and PowerPoint and iMovie. And I was really impressed by the videos that the students ended up making, the information that they got out of it, how engaged they were. They were super excited when they found out they were going to be making YouTube videos, even though these videos were about the academic content. If I could go back and change something, I probably would have just been more specific about the types of facts I wanted them to find about the people. So some of the facts were really random, and though they were interesting, they weren't necessarily what I wanted the students to get about that person. However, when it came to the actual technology part of this lesson, I don't think I would really change anything, because the students were engaged and they were able to follow the instructions. Like, it was very specific, and I was just really impressed by what they were able to do.